Hello, welcome to this week's talk. Today we're going to be discussing Virgo season / Venus in Virgo. I am recording this both on Twitter as well as on Zoom to later put it onto my YouTube page. So some of you might actually get to see this in living color in real time. And I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you. Alrighty. So welcome in, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Quick little run through. My name is Shawnte. I go by Shawnteoutloud. I am a practicing astrologer of a decade who opened up for business only 3 years ago. I have been featured in Cosmopolitan. I've been featured in Stylecaster. I've been featured in Refinery 29, Bust, Bustle, Teen Vogue. You name it, I have probably been featured or written there. I have a pretty extensive resume you can check out over at shawnteoutloud.com. Let's see. If you're interested in keeping up with me and following me, follow me on Instagram at solbyshawnteoutloud. You can follow me on Twitter at shawnteoutloud. And if you're interested in investing in the things that I have to say, of course, you can hit me up over on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/shawnteoutloud. All of this should either be in the link of my various bios, whether you're listening to this on Twitter or you're listening to or you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to find those references quickly. So I think that's like pretty much does it for my intro. I wanted to come in and talk about Virgo season. I know we're a few days in, I'm a few days late, whatever, what are you gonna do? But I wanted to talk about that and also talk and follow up with Venus and Virgo. We've already kind of had the last ditch effort of our Venus opposite Saturn moment, like all of the heavy Leo energy that we've had to experience with its oppositions to Saturn is really done for the next like 30 years. So we can all rejoice on that. Hopefully, you really got some clarity and some awareness as to what those lessons were for you. And now you can operate from a better space moving forward. But moving into what this month has to offer. So kind of want to start off with what Virgo season is, what it does, how it's shaping out this year, and what it's going to mean in terms of getting our day-to-day and getting things and getting clarity on what is expected of us. I hope you guys can hear me. So, when the sun moves into the sign of Virgo, we are really very much focusing on our environment. Virgo is a sign that is ruled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury is really a planet that really thrives in any environment it places in. When you read actual, like the way that Mercury is viewed as a planet, Mercury is the only planet in astrology that can, is the only planet, Mercury is the only planet in astrology that can travel to the highest heavens and also to the lowest depths of hell. So there's always this ease of moving, this adaptability. And with Mercury being the ruler of Virgo, it takes a little bit of a different time than when Mercury is in its ruler of Gemini, because Mercury in Virgo is Earth, right? So at the end of the day, the foundation when we're looking at elements is stability, it's security. It is even monotonous, right? What can I rely on? What do I know I'm going to have? Can I anticipate is always going to be there, right? How can I be the most practical, especially in a physical way? It has a lot to do with the materialization. Anytime we're talking about Earth, that is the best way to start. How do I materialize the thing that I'm seeking, especially what the foundation of that thing is. And when we're talking about Virgo season, we're talking about how to really make things more clear for ourselves, especially having to do with our bodies, especially having to do with our service towards ourselves and other people. Now, a lot of Virgo energy, we always see them as helpers. They're dutiful. They want to get things done. They want to be organized, and all of that stuff is great. But we do find Virgos having a struggle with boundaries, right? When we're talking about the things that are needed of us and the things that are expected of us, we can sometimes place that expectation on other people, i.e. Virgo being kind of judgmental and sometimes the way that they operate with themselves and other people, hypercritical of the world around them and themselves. Like Virgos are not only dragging you. You ever feel like if Virgo is really telling you about themselves, it's because they told themselves about themselves even harder. There's a lot of focus on perfection and getting things right. And this can be really great, you know. This season in particular, as we are getting ready to head, you know, Virgo season is kind of the last ditch of light, right? Once the sun enters Libra, we're in fall. The sun itself has entered fall. So we're seeing these last bits of what it's all come down to over the last 8-9 months of the year, and kind of seeing how we can plot out those final 3 or the final, like these dark months until the sun enters Aries, right? In the middle of like March. So really needing to come in and honestly, a bit of a reckoning happening with some of this energy that Virgo season is going to be serving up. I'm really interested to see, not only as the sun moves through Virgo, not only as Mercury kind of goes back into Virgo with this Mercury retrograde, but also when Venus is going into enter Virgo. I'm interested to see what it kind of does to that Pisces pileup we had back in April and how it's going to offset and be like completely different from whatever you were going through, or really start to show you just how deep, you know, in the sauce you were at that time. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and start talking about kind of the beginning of this Virgo season. You know, we're already in the midst of it today. We do have our sun square Mars exact. That's the sun currently in the sign of Virgo, making it square to Mars in Gemini. Now, this is something I've been talking about a lot because I'm a Gemini, so I'm pretty mercurial in fashion. And I always say like Gemini and Virgo energy needs each other in the best way. To me, my Gemini energy, I appreciate the hell out of my Virgo friends because they really can get down to like layering the details that I can sometimes like blow over because I'm so excited about the information I have. And to me, where my Virgo friends need me as a Gemini is to be a little bit, you know, not like impractical, to be a little bit you know, ingenious in the way that I go about doing things, creating things, or storing information. So these are some of the ways that we can think about the, you know, the way that sun squares Mars. And I think with this energy, it's really about finding a way to help yourself. We have the sun in Virgo, right? So we're identifying with wanting to have structure and wanting to have security and wanting to have things make sense and be practical. Where the square to Mars in Gemini wants us to go and it wants us to figure things out and try things. It also wants us to explore, right? So some way that I've been seeing this sun square Mars is like, how can you get more organized in a way that doesn't feel monotonous to you? For some of you, like this is great, this new moon in Virgo, because the sun has been kind of working a square to Mars since the moon entered, or since the sun entered Gemini, or since the sun entered Virgo. It's like, hey, how can I revolutionize my approach at my day-to-day schedule? How can I revolutionize the way that I do things? How can I change my environment in a way that is interesting and sparks my curiosity and makes me want to play or explore? So those are some things that are going to be coming up, you know, already. Now, starting us off, we have on the 4th, we've got Venus entering the sign of Virgo. So this is an important transit. You know, Venus entering Virgo has a lot to do with, first of all, it being a detrimental placement. When Venus goes into Virgo, it doesn't necessarily like it there. And the reason is because like the way that Venus likes Gemini, because it's fun and it's lighthearted and it's curious, it doesn't operate that same way with Mercury and Virgo. Venus in Virgo is really critical of themselves. They can be very, very stiff, like rigid, when it comes to love, affection, finances. Venus in Virgo really does have a hard time operating. You know, it wants structure in love. It wants to make sense of love. And sometimes it can overthink or feel and create like insecurities and patterns of love and the way that they approach money, because there is a fear there of letting go, letting loose, not having a plan, not following the plan. And that can be detrimental to their finances. Like, you ever know, like, you know, it's like holding on to money too tight is just as bad as letting money go to, you know, just aimlessly. You need to have a balance there. And sometimes Venus and Virgo struggles with that balance within itself. Like, how can I give myself enough love? Can I give myself enough gifts? Can I give myself enough service? Because a lot of times Venus and Virgo will overextend into serving other people, even to a point of eventually sometimes resenting those people for needing the service from them that they provided. So really needing to get clear on, with Venus and Virgo, what your needs are first and what your boundaries are for meeting the needs of other people. Venus and Virgo will overextend itself sometimes to the point of gaining inner resentment towards, like I said, who they're serving. So, hey, like, what do I need? How am I going to, you know, extend myself? So something to think about there. Moving on. Let's talk about the 8th. So on September 8th, we're going to have the Sun in Virgo make a trine to the North Node. Now, this is important because Sun trine North Node, this is an aspect that was similar. We had this similar aspect a couple of weeks ago when Mercury was going into a trine with the North Node. And I saw this and see this as a time to really revolutionize the way that we maintain our bodies and our sense of comfort. You know, the Sun in Virgo, once again, the Sun needing to identify, it's a part of who we see ourselves as. It's a part of who we project ourselves as into the world. What are we showing up as? Who are we showing up as? And how is that meeting the need of our larger picture, right? What we say we want with that North Node in Taurus. What are we willing to do for it? Now, this brings a great time for us to really use like working smarter and not harder as a means, right? Sometimes the Sun in Virgo does, like, it overdoes. And the Sun in Taurus North Node is like, yes, we want the things too, but you can actually get them without strain, right? Because Taurus and Venusian energy is about that attracting, right? Mercury has to stay in motion. Venus really will prefer to lay down. Like, so how do we create better circumstances to maybe be able to lay down more while also getting and hitting the things on our to-do list? On the 9th, we have Venus in Virgo go into opposition with the moon. So Venus opposite moon usually can be feeling like we're not having enough, or it's a feeling of emotionally what we want or desire is maybe not being met by our financial or our relational needs at the time. And what this usually is a conversation that either needs to be had with you and whoever you're seeking to relate to, or you and yourself. I see Venus opposite moon as like, you know, that scene in Clueless when Cher is just super depressed and she just goes for retail therapy and she just has like, and she's just walking with all these bags and she's literally like twirling her head like, but if I feel this way, then if I feel that way, then if I feel this way. That's literally what Venus opposite moon is. Try not to get caught up. Ew. Try not to get Venus opposite moon. Try not to get caught up. You know, it could be like you're feeling really overwhelmed by your feelings and even hypercritical with Venus opposite the moon. Because remember, the moon is going to be in Pisces with this. It is kind of feeling like sometimes feeling sorry for yourself, being overly victimized about your circumstances, or being hypercritical about yourself and your circumstances with the people surrounding you. And this is why it's always like, what can you do to pour into yourself that isn't going to like drown you, right? With that moon and Pisces energy. On the 11th, we have the sun in Virgo make a trine to Uranus. So this is great, kind of coming up on those, almost on the energy that we had a few weeks ago from between Mercury and Uranus. So Mercury and Uranus coming together, right? Very much focusing in on how we can create a new way to experience our bodies, to experience our schedules, to experience our day-to-day routines. This is almost similar to the sun trining North Node earlier in that week, right? How can I change the way that I approach my feelings, about my environment, about my health, about my body? Some of you, it's very dietary in nature. And it's certainly very physical because we're talking about Earth. For some of you, this might even be needing to change your budget. Like, hey, in order for me to get this thing that I want down the line, I might have to cut a couple of corners here on my grocery list, or I might have to not go out as often as much because I really want to take this trip next year. Like, whatever the case may be, it's asking you to work for yourself in a way that is going to suit your future better. Next aspect coming up on the 16th, Venus will go into a square with Mars. So Venus square Mars, this is definitely a terse aspect here. It can also be very sexy, however. Now, in this case, it is Venus versus Mars kind of in mercurial bounds, right? So it is very mental. This is a great day for, definitely like being flirtatious with your words. And on the other side of that, it can definitely be a day where there are challenges within relationships because of the actions that are being taken towards trying to relate. This can be literally confusing in terms of like how you're choosing, like terms of engagement with one another. It's almost like, the way that you're talking to someone is you're still speaking in innuendos, and someone's like, wait, what are you saying? Like, do you like me or not? Like, you want to fuck or not? It's like needing to really get clarity about the way that a person is choosing to communicate, because maybe they are making you feel a little insecure. With that Venus and Virgo, right? I need the reinforcement of what you're trying to tell me to be understood. And Mars and Gemini wants to tell a joke, and it wants to kind of keep it light. So be mindful of that. Now, on the 17th, we'll have Virgo sun make an opposition to Neptune. This is certainly an aspect to watch on a personal level, but also on the world stage. I think there's going to be some really interesting information that could be coming out, especially from a collective stand that is affecting like the collective in a really large way, having to do with information or media in some way, realizations about information that's maybe coming to us or been coming to us from forms of media is like not true, which yes, we always say we know that, right? But I think that this could represent a very large scale theme, certainly with the way that it falls within the chart of the United States. The United States is a Sag rising, Virgo energy falls in its 10th house. So it's very public. It's very like, what do people see me as and how do they view me? Where it's opposing that 4th house Neptunian energy, which is very much private, deep down inside, right? The stuff that you do inside your own home that nobody really knows about unless they come over. And even then we can hide it. So really interesting things that are going to be coming out. Sun opposite Neptune usually is a moment of realization. Oh shit, I had totally missed that detail. It can also be a moment of saving. Maybe you are in an opportunity, like it's certainly a spiritual aspect, coming into awareness of a journey or coming into awareness of a spiritual gift or, a spiritual mystery that really inspires you to take different action, changes the course of your life, changes the way that you identify with something in your reality. 19th is a bit of a big day. We've got the sun make a trine to Pluto, and we have Venus make its trine to Uranus. So sun trine Pluto, especially once again, we're back in Earth sign territory, right? It's about the materialization. Now, this is also going to be, I believe, a large scale theme surrounding the United States. This is the time to watch food announcements, things I expect sun trine Pluto, and the deeper we get into this Virgo season, certainly like as we hit mid-September, to really start kind of tallying up exactly what we have or don't have in terms of finances, and certainly in terms of food, you know, for this country and possibly beyond. Certainly it'll start coming out in September. So I do foresee prices being hiked once we get to mid-September. You know, certainly a hike in really everything is going to be coming, because September and Virgo season is the harvest season, guys. You know, that is when we start pulling and picking out the weeds, and we might start finding out that those weeds that we're pulling and picking at, or those wheat, or the wheat, just there simply isn't enough. Again, something that we've already been talking about over the course of the year, that is really going to become real clear and true as we head into this Virgo energy. With Venus and Virgo making, and back to the sun trine Pluto, right? The Pluto in Capricorn is very corporation based. So this is what I'm likely to, like, I'm inclined to believe large corporations, or a large corporation being like, hey, we really are having a food shortage, y'all. We do not have enough. You know, Kroger is just not going to be pumping out the things anymore. Y'all are going to have to find alternatives. So just something to kind of chew on there. Now, as far as this Venus trine Uranus goes, this is another opportunity to change something. Venus and Virgo, like I said, can be a little bit uncomfortable in its own skin. And Taurus energy is very sensual. It's very much about its skin. It's a good time to get into your body with this energy in a very physically present way. You know, Mercury or Virgo energy, Venus and Virgo, is in its body and its mind. And that's not the reality of Taurus energy. Taurus is in its body through its body, right? The experience of the senses. How can you create a more sensual experience for yourself while still getting done what you need to get done, while still taking care, right? Venus and Virgo trine Uranus might spark like, damn, I need to start getting weekly or bi-weekly massages, you know? I need to start stretching more. You know, multiple times a day. I need to start eating differently. I need to allow myself a little more space in my budget to seek pleasure. You know, I'm allowed to spend $500 extra a month on myself just for fun, because I make enough money and I can do that. So something like along those lines might come in with that Venus trine Uranus. And it really is asking for you to kind of get out of your own way or out of your own discomfort in order to shift into something that might feel better for you. 23rd, another kind of big day. So the 23rd will have Mercury go back into the sign of Virgo. This is important, certainly from some stuff that happened midweek this week. So start thinking, you know, if there was anything wonky, anything funky that happened, it might kind of come back up again. You could have to deal with it over again. But just an important thing to think about with Mercury, you know, Mercury's still working its way through this retrograde. And although that won't still be Virgo season, it's still kind of carrying on that energy. Now, this same day, Venus in Virgo will oppose Neptune. So this is another like aspect. Shit ain't sweet. Venus, Neptune, for those, like, you might not know this, but Venus, Neptune are some of the most difficult aspects to have, because Venus wants to connect, right? It wants to attract, it wants to love, it wants to experience the thing. But Neptune can make things really hard to see and understand, right? It makes things unclear. It creates connection where it might not necessarily be real, but where it really, really wants it to be. So with Venus opposite Neptune, we can maybe come into awareness that like how close we thought we were to a person is not as close as we are. How like it can also be a day where financially, we thought we were close to a goal, but we really aren't, or we thought we were further away from a financial goal than we really are. In any terms, we're starting to come into awareness of like maybe where we're overly critical of ourselves and where we can stand to offer ourselves more compassion, more love, more spiritual, thought in the way that we approach our finances, or the way that we approach self-love and things surrounding, our inner lives. Final aspect here. Oh, I didn't even, I missed one thing. I'll have to wrap back around. 25th, Venus in Virgo will make a conjunction with the moon. So Venus, moon in Virgo, honestly, it might be a tough day. When Venus and the moon in Virgo come together, the moon in Virgo is not necessarily the most comfortable because it is seeking to make sense of the way it feels, and the way its body is responding to its feelings is usually really, really like kind of obnoxious. Virgos always have like stomach problems, especially if something's going on or they have anxiety, they're more likely to have a stomach issue, as Virgo rules the digestive system. So this could be a day where if you are overthinking or being hypercritical, your body is going to have a really tough response to it. Instead, find ways you can nurture and serve yourself. This is a good day for taking off work. If you're a person who, your work really influences your body in a way that is difficult, take the day off, relax a bit, enjoy yourself. And I want to talk about, finally, kind of wrapping back around. I forgot to mention on September 10th what was going on. This is a big day too. September 10th is our official day start of Mercury retrograde. Mercury will retrograde at 8 degrees of Libra. This is an important aspect. We already have Mercury just moved into Libra. So do always, like I said, be watching what happens for us over the course of these next couple of weeks. And finally, we have our full moon in Pisces on this same day. This is a really early morning moon. If you're on the West Coast like me, it's like a 5 a.m. moon. So 8 a.m. over on the East Coast if you're listening. But that full moon in Pisces, obviously moon opposite sun. So there is a need, anytime we're dealing with Virgo and Pisces axis, is a need to surrender here, or awareness about how and what might need to be surrendered comes into play with this energy. So what is that for you? What are your needs? And I think with Virgo and Pisces, right, it's easy for us to meet the needs of other people. It's easy for us to overserve, to overgive, to show up for the people outside of ourselves. But what does it mean to show up for you inside? What does that look like for you? What kind of structures and systems do you have in place to make sure that you're showing up for yourself in the way that you need to be the most supportive of you? Do you need a new, like last night it hit me, I need a new nighttime routine, I need something new because I'm staying up too late. I don't like that. Do I need a new diet to help support that I'm able to get all the nutrients I need and I can rest and have the relaxation that I desire? So a lot of themes kind of rising to the surface with that sun opposite moon in Pisces, between that Virgo Pisces axis and within your chart. So that's what I've got for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it here over on Twitter. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. So this is for my YouTube and Patronies. I do want to talk about like Virgo season scopes with Sun and Venus in Virgo through the sign. So let's start with Virgo. Virgo, you have the Sun in the first house, you have Venus in your first house for much of September. So all eyes on you, but make sure your eyes are on you as well, right? Paying attention to what you need, to what feels good to you, taking care of your body. Get up, go on those appointments, especially if you notice that the last couple of months have been a little bit tumultuous regarding health for you. Make the doctor's appointment, make sure all, synapses are firing for your body because you need to have them. You want to be healthy, you want to be good, especially with the sun and Venus. And that's how you pour into yourself and serve yourself, right? In a way that's conducive to what your needs are. Pisces energy, having the sun and Venus go through your 7th house, can have you examining the way that you show up in relationships, as well as the relationships that you're seeking to have in your current and your future as well. You know, are you getting your needs met? Are you having the things that you want show up for you? What do you need? Like literally, what do you need from the people around you? Not only in a romantic, but from your friends, you know, from your job. And how can you make sure that you are showing up on the other side of that and not just accepting things that aren't enough for you, right? Are you advocating for yourself? And are you allowing people you're in relationship with to advocate for themselves as well? Libra and Aries. So Libra, this energy is going to be going Sun and Venus through the 12th. Really positive time for you guys to be thinking about, you know, what, like, again, how to meet your need. You could be recognizing like, wow, I do a whole lot of service. I do a whole lot of outsourcing things for other people. And when it comes down to me, I'm really tired. I'm really exhausted. That's what the sun and Venus, honestly, moving through your 12th house is, for your rest. Put that phone on D&D, take some days, take some personal days off from work if you can swing it, and really just get in and relax, chill out. The next aspect, Aries energy. You have this energy mostly moving through your 6th house. I would be really mindful about how much and how fast you're moving. The sun in the 6th house is a time for you to start recognizing some things, maybe surrounding your day-to-day life, some stuff you might need to change in order to be moving from or operating from the best space forward. With Venus there, you could be getting good compliments at work. If you're looking for work, you could be getting some good play from potential bosses or employers at this time. This is also a time to be focusing in on your body, start working out, changing that diet if you need to, like go to the doctor. That's kind of it for you guys as well. Scorpio and Taurus. Scorpio, this energy of the sun and Venus is going through your 11th. It's a great time for reaching out to friends. It's a great time for, you know, networking, checking in on people, for creating and fostering new hopes, wishes, and dreams for yourself. What do you really want? Who do you want it with in terms of your community? Like, who are you connecting with who are either going to help you get there or are where you want to be someday and can offer you some opportunities to help you get there. Taurus, you know, this energy is going mostly through your 5th house. So a lot of you might be rethinking your wardrobe, rethinking your passion projects. You're wanting to explore some things that really resonate with you. For some of you, it might even be like skincare, you know, things like making yourself up to look good and feel better in your day-to-day. You're just starting new projects. Sagittarius and Gemini peeps. Sagittarius, this sun and Venus are going through your 10th house. So you're receiving a lot of, you know, accolades for the work that you do with the public and in the world. People could be complimenting you. People, if you're looking for work, it's a good time. People are hiring you. People are noticing you. If you're currently employed, people are like, damn, you're really great at your job. It could be a good time for asking for a raise. You know, you need an extra $1 or $2 or $8, right? Whatever the case may be, people in the public and around you are seeing you for your structure and the abilities that you have, and they're probably complimenting you and they're, you know, giving you your flowers, which is nice. Gemini, this energy is moving through your 4th house. So this can make you really more aware of your environment. Perhaps some of you feel like you need to move things around. Some of you feel like you need a deep cleaning. Some of you feel like you're just ready to move altogether. But in any event, you're really thinking about how you can manage and maintain your inner life, how you can pour into yourself better, and how your environment helps you pour into yourself, or maybe doesn't help you pour into yourself. Capricorn and Cancer, this energy for you, Capricorn, is really going through your natal ninth. So Sun and Venus in the ninth house is really allowing you to find mentors. For some of you, it can be new spiritual mentors coming into being. It could be realize that like learning something new or starting off on a new goal, maybe choosing to liberate yourself in a way that you haven't previously is coming into being. So this is going to be really great for you. Yeah, Cancers. This Sun and Venus going through your third house. You are a communication master right now. The way that you choose to express yourself is really going to get you far, whether it be with the public or with those that you're closest to. You could also be receiving compliments for the way that you communicate, or compliments from those who are really close and surrounding you through the means of communication about how you make them feel, etc., etc. Trying to think who is next. Sorry, guys. Aquarius and Leo, because I already did Virgo and Pisces. Great. Aquarius and Leo, you guys have Aquarius, you have the Sun and Venus moving through your eighth house. So this is a time to really start looking over not only like your inner life and your past, but also your relationship to resources and finances. This might have to do with work. You know, you could be receiving good opportunities at work. It also could speak of receiving good opportunities for investment coming in towards you, inheritances, money that you had been owed but didn't know you were owed coming back to you comes in. So this is really positive for you, Aquarius risings, I think overall. Now my Leo risings, you guys have this energy in your second house. So the Sun and Venus in the second can have you really thinking like, what do I need for my budget? Can I spend a little bit more money? Do I need to save a little bit more money? Probably not with you, Leo and, you know, risings, but like, what are the habits and structures I have regarding my self-worth and themes of worth, money, and relationships, and how can I be a little bit less critical or be a little bit less clinched about it and open myself up more? So that's what I've got for you this Venus and Virgo Sun season. Thank you guys again for being here. Like I said, follow me on Instagram, solbyshawnteoutloud. Follow me on Twitter at Shawnteoutloud. Follow me on Patreon through patreon.com/Shawnteoutloud. Hit me up on my website at shawnteoutloud.com. Literally, if you want to support me, my Cash App are going to be down below, as well as my Venmo and PayPal. Thank you so much for watching. Tell your friends to subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Laters.